you're still not making the changes that you want to make in your life. Or should I say the changes that you say you want to make in your life, because you just don't really want to. I've just realized this for myself a while ago with these videos, because I've been wanting to do this for a long time, or at least I said for a long time that I want to do this, but I never did it. And so I kept looking at, okay, why do I think I should do this, or what are the reasons why I don't want to do it, and so on and so forth. And I always came to the same conclusion, that there's every reason for me to do it and there is no reason for me not to do it, but I still didn't do it. And well, this was kind of confusing for me for a while, until eventually I just admitted it to myself that it's just not a very logical thing, or perhaps it is the most logical thing, because if you don't want to do something, then you're not gonna do it, obviously. It doesn't really matter what you're telling yourself are the reasons or to do it or not to do it. If we're gonna talk about logic, then there's a million things. There's mosquitoes. There's a million things that you could be doing better or more productive. But the funny thing about logic is that it's also just a matter of perspective, right? What's a logical thing to do for you just depends on what perspective you have, right? And I guess that's the thing we are overlooking. We keep telling ourselves, okay, logically I should be doing this and that, but whose logic is it really based on if you're only telling yourself you want to do it? But I swear it's so annoying. I'm gonna just move away from here. If you're only telling yourself that you should be doing it, but you don't really want to, then whose logic is it, really? Talking about logic, I once had this realization that the logic of a homeless person and the logic of a middle-class person and the logic of a very wealthy person, they all have different logic, right? To us, middle-class people, it's very illogical to spend so much time and effort collecting bottles or whatever, collecting whatever kind of trash to get a few cents and live on the street and eat just like $2 to $3 worth of food in a day, because that's all we could afford, instead of just spending that same time doing like a normal job, like just working 9 to 5 and then just making way more money that way. In the same way, a wealthy person might look at middle-class people who will quote-unquote waste their time doing a 9 to 5 job, right? So logic is just a matter of perspective, and you shouldn't concern yourself with that, because what's really logical for you to do is really just whatever you want to do. There's no right and wrong in the end, because it just comes down to what you enjoy. What use is it earning a lot of money if you're not enjoying your life? And what use is it to make a change in your career if you just don't want to make that change? Fundamentally, if you're not changing right now, then you still prefer your current situation over the situation that you say that you want. And so logically, you're not changing, because the perceived pros of that situation that you are wishing for still do not outweigh the perceived cons. Or maybe you're just scared. That's also a valid reason. Or you just think you can't do it. In my other videos, I mentioned that there is faith and there is fear. And fear is basically just faith in the negative. You have faith-based emotions and you have fear-based emotions. So faith-based emotions would be all the positive ones, like confidence and so on, security, all the good stuff that you wish for yourself. And fear-based emotions are like doubt and well, all the bad stuff, like insecurity, fear itself, anger, and so on. If you think about it, this will make a lot of sense, and you just really have to choose faith. That's pretty much it. There's not much more to say. The main thing is not to beat yourself up, because it's okay to not want to change. There's nothing wrong with not changing. And if you really do want to change at the core, then it has to come from a level of simply wanting to make that change. Simply wanting to do it. Everything else is just you pretending to be someone else that you're really not. And you're only really gonna make yourself unhappy with that. It makes sense if you think about it, right? What reason at the end of the day is there to change if you don't want to change? There's no really, like, there's no better or worse. It just comes down to what you prefer. So just give yourself the freedom to do what you prefer. And be honest with yourself. Be honest enough with yourself to admit to yourself that you still prefer your current situation over the one that you say that you want. And the cool thing about admitting that is that once you give yourself that space to just say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to make that change actually. I still prefer this. And you drop all the pressure, shame, and guilt and whatever from the situation you're in right now, which is telling you that I should change, I have to change, then then you will actually change. If that is what is actually what you want. We think that if we don't whip ourselves and keep reminding ourselves how bad we are and that we should be doing better, we keep telling ourselves that if we dropped that, then there would be no more reason to change. And if that is the case, then good. Actually, that's good. Why would you change if you don't want to change? Our society now is deluded. That's the truth. Just leave it be. If you don't want to change, then don't. Just be honest enough with yourself to, admit that and just live as who you are. And if you do that, then you will do what's right, I'm sure. So that's pretty much it. Thank you if you watched until here. And if you have any questions that you think I could help you with, then let me know in the comments. And other than that, I will see you tomorrow. Take care.